I think Rory probably doesn't get the credit he deserves as a writer. I mean, even Dylan was a fan of Rory's.
He was, yeah. Yeah, Dylan loved I Could Have Had Religion.
Right.
He loved that track. Because I remember when he came to one of the shows in Los Angeles, he came backstage, and that's what he was talking about, because I think he wanted to record that track. But yeah.
And you also had, it seems like Rory's, you had a rotating cast of drummers, right? You had Wilger, you had Rod, you had Ted, you had Brendan. Yet he kept you in the bass chair.
Yeah. For whatever reason, yeah, I was there all the way through. Well, for 20 years anyway.
You knew the material.
Yeah.
But was Rory the type of if I remember correctly, reading or seeing one of your interviews, because unfortunately your book is out of print in the United States, and it's only available in German in the United States right now on Kindle. So, David, do you speak German? You don't read German. Nine. But Rory the type to change the set every night and throw in songs that maybe you guys hadn't done in a long time?
Yeah, he would do that. Yeah. Oh, well, there was never a set list. With the early days, never a set list. No, Rory, and sometimes, normally, if you're on tour, you would have the opening song with normally the same song, but after that, it was anybody's guess.
So he would just call the tune.
Yeah, and in later years, he would throw songs in, like like in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, he'd throw a song like Cinnaboy in. And that would have been Brendan on drums, and Brendan never played Cinnaboy in his life, and for me to try and remember it after 11 years, whatever, wasn't easy either. So he would do that. He would throw songs in,
But that's healthy for a band, actually.
Of course it is. And if the band can't step up to the podium and do it, then it's like Springsteen said in the E Street Band, if they can't play certain songs, and they're not worth their you got to be able to, you had to pay your dues, playing in the clubs in the 60s, and like we guys did, and like they did, and you knew those songs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a performance-based medium at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I also think the three-piece band is one of the greatest settings for exploring. If the guitar player goes off, you're put in the position of how do we keep the audience focused on the tune. I think it's a wonderful situation. As a matter of fact, even in the jazz realm, when you have something like an Ornette Coleman, a saxophonist with bass and drums, it creates its own. You are the harmony and you are the rhythm. It's a fabulous position to be in.
It is. I mean, it's fantastic. It is. It's and you have to be brave to go in some of those directions, because obviously there's you can't go too far either, but you have to have balls to actually go and take it to that level, without overstepping the other guy.
Right. Exactly.
And with the three-piece, I mean, everybody's got to be working together. Yeah. Especially the bass and drums, because I mean, Rory, the guitar players out there, soloing. I mean, we got to be way behind them, and also bring it up to that level when the solos come in.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable because you're free.
Yeah.
Well, up to a point, as long as you don't go above that mark, you're free.
Right. Well, Tom and I are always talking about how we have a pre-Jocko era and a post-Jocko era. All right. Okay. Tom's already smiling.
Yes.
And it seems that we're making a point of interviewing pre-Jocko players, at least at this point. We're 15, 16 interviews in, so to speak.
Okay.
And it always, it confirms in my mind and amazes me at the same time that each and every one of the bass players has played another instrument, has learned music without the aid of YouTube or tablature.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Hard to believe.
Yeah, it is in the present day. It's hard to believe, because even I go to YouTube to learn things.
Well, it is a tremendous resource, but there's no substitute for like you paying your dues, getting on the bandstand. And matter of fact, Marcus Miller was mentioning that he has many students, and they all have great dexterity, but they have trouble playing with other people.
Yeah,
They can
yeah,
play with a video because a video does the same thing
yeah, yeah.
over and over again. So they're obviously it's a whole different mindset now.
It is a completely different mindset. Yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, and the experience of playing with different people. I mean, surely that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, to play off of another musician. You know, it's you know, it's one of the most rewarding things ever. You know, I mean, to reach a pinnacle if you're playing with whatever musician. I play with so many different drummers who had so many different styles. But I mean, that's the fun within all that, you know. I mean, to read each other, to read what he's going to do, to read what he's going to do, you know, and it's yeah.
And also to learn something.
There's no substitute for that.
Dynamics.
Dynamics, yeah, absolutely.
You know, you don't get dynamics with a YouTube video.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, it's the highs and the lows. You don't get that.
How does it feel for you, Gerry, to go on YouTube and see yourself 40, 50 years ago? I mean, you're quite documented, the Rory Gallagher, you know, all the BBC stuff and things like that. Do you ever go back and look and say, damn, what did I play that for? Or I could have done this, or, oh, that was a lot better than you remember.
Well, there you go. There's the evil of YouTube. Looking at yourself 40 years ago or 50 years ago, whatever it may be. I mean, it's there, you know. It's fun. I mean, I don't do it a lot, you know. When something comes up on Facebook or something, I might check it out, you know. I don't actually delve into it too much, you know.
Yeah, but there are the benefits that, you know, we can watch the masters who passed and just, you know, back in the day, of course, you had to buy a concert ticket, but now we can watch. You know, we could see Coltrane, we could see Miles, we could see Rory, we could see all those people and really learn from them. So there is, you know, it can be a useful tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. No.
One of my favorite records you did was Calling Card. Tell me, what was it like having Roger Glover, another bass player, as a producer?
It was great. It was a strange situation that. Because it was the first time Rory, well, besides with Taste, he had a producer.
Okay.
And it was the first time with his own band that he had a producer. And it was, it wasn't comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean, Roger obviously wanted to work in a certain direction.
Okay.
And to tighten up the band more, so you know, it was less loose.
Right, it was more commercial sound, yeah.
Yeah, and Rory was sort of against that, and I was sort of stuck in the middle with all this as well, you know, because I knew Roger quite well.
Okay.
We obviously toured with him with Deep Purple in the States, and I got to know him quite well. And but it wasn't a comfortable situation. It was a shame, really, and I think at the end, I mean, Rory got mixed again by somebody else, and the Glimmer.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a shame.
All right. When you look back at your career with Rory, I know you like Shadow Play, Moonchild, and Tattooed Lady. What are some of the tracks that you recall most fondly that stand out to you?
Wow, I mean, it was a lot. I mean, the early stuff. I mean, the first album, Laundromat, is a fantastic song. I mean, just for the riff alone, if nothing else. You know, another song, I'm Not Awake Yet, from the Juice album. I thought was a lovely song. But there's so many songs, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, later on in years, when Ted McKenna was in the band, you know, it became a bit more rocky, you know. I mean, because Rory had this marvelous way of writing songs sometimes to suit the musicians.
Okay.
So obviously when Ted came in after Rod, I mean, Rod was a very flamboyant sort of drummer, you know, very unusual drummer, and Rory loved that. He loved that sort of unusual style that Rod had. And when Ted came in, he was like a straightforward, you know, rock drummer, you know, extremely good. God rest him as well. So I mean, that's why the song sort of changed. I mean, with the photo finish and top priority. I mean, songs like Shadow Play. It's a straightforward rock song. Just sort of punky rock.
Yeah. Well, it seems like that approach really. You look back and you listen to those records and they still sound fresh. They don't sound dated. And we're talking records that are close to half a century old, but you can put them on the turntable, if I may date myself, and like, wow, that's still a fresh sounding record.
Yeah, which is a good thing, absolutely, I mean, I feel that as well. I mean, that's why I put a band together myself, to play Rory songs,
right,
a few years ago, and that was the reason why. Because when I moved to France, before I was just listening to CDs and things, because I didn't get my old vinyl out. Didn't get a chance really. And when I moved to France, I managed to get the old record player out and got the vinyl out and started listening to the vinyl again. And obviously all the Rory albums I had, because I hadn't listened to them for years because I was with a different band then, a band called Man Below Zero. And it's only then I realized how good the songs were. Because if you sort of go away for a few years and don't listen to those songs, I mean, and then you come back and listen to them and you go, wow, these songs are great, really good.
And that's what prompted Band of Friends?
It is, yeah. That was the idea, yeah. Because I mean, and I had to get the right people to play the songs, And luckily Ted McKenna was around. He wasn't playing, and we got Ted and this young guitar player from Amsterdam, Marcel Schoppenzell. And we put it together and went out on the road, and it worked extremely well.
Show go last week. How did the show go last week?
The online thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it was really good. You can still check it out. It's on the website, Band of Friends website. It's on YouTube. There you go.
Well, it's just interesting that the Irish and the English brought blues back to Americans and taught us about the blues. And now with Band of Friends, you're reintroducing a new generation to the legacy of Rory and what you guys did back in the day.
That's right. Yeah, which is great, because it's. I mean, you would imagine that most of the people who would come to those concerts, Band of Friends concerts, would be of a certain age.
Yeah.
But very lucky to have a lot of young people actually come along, and it's great to see these young faces in the audience, and they're enjoying the music, We've actually done a couple of trips to the US, and we used another guitar player from he's actually from the Isle of Man, but he lives in Chicago, Davey Knowles.
Okay. Okay.
He's excellent, and we've done a couple of trips. We've done 4 trips now to the States, which is okay.
And David, the songs we're going to play Shadow Play, Moonchild, Tattooed Lady. What else have we got queued?
I got a bunch of things queued up. I want to play Hands Up because I think it's important to show that particular side.
Yeah.
Tattooed Lady, Shadow Play, Moonchild. I want to play a couple of your tunes, Railway Station and Can't Win 'Em All. I've got Soft Touch, White Boys Lost in the Blues, and of course, Lonely Mile.
Oh, cool, yeah.
I love how you play slow blues. And, just getting back for a second, I think one of the things that makes our music, meaning 60s, 70s music, different, you don't need an entourage. You don't need... No, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, even though I feel negative about it. I'm just stating facts. You don't have... there's a great cartoon with a kid meeting his girlfriend's father. And the caption is, "I hear you're a musician." And the kid goes, "Oh, yes, I've got a laptop and I'm a DJ." And the father's caption is, "You've got 10 seconds to get the fuck out of my house." And good news is we can say this on internet.
On YouTube. Well, this video will be on YouTube.
But let me just finish. The point is, you could go to a club with a 3-piece, even a 4-piece band, set up, plug in, and you're going to have an audience because they're getting something raw, they're getting something real. And so much of what's going on today, remember, I have a 16-year-old, I'm listening to this. And that's why, obviously, you're getting young crowds. They want to hear music. They want to hear something and be able to see people performing. I think, you know, the blues always goes in and out. You know what I mean?
It does. It goes up and down, yeah.
I think this post-pandemic is going to show a real rise in blues rock again. And I'll tell you something interesting. Would you believe that Sweetwater, that internet musical instrument company, the last year made $1 billion?
Wow.
Think about that.
And didn't Fender sell most guitars last year? I believe they
900,000 guitars.
Wow. Well, that's encouraging.
Isn't it? It's great. There's so many positives about this that, you know, amongst all the tragedy that it brings. But I think kids are going to start listening again. At least to this kind. Not my daughter, because I'm uncool and old. But I think it's a good sign, and obviously a band of friends.
Well, that's encouraging. Actually, I mean, I didn't realize those figures. You know, that's very encouraging.
Yeah.
And hopefully, at the end of all this, we can get out and start using our fingers again.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know,
my wife can't wait for me to get on tour.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, the funny thing is, if you listen to a lot of hip hop and electronic music, and you dig deep, you'll hear they're really blues progressions. They're 1-4-5 Chicago blues progressions. You know, you could hear, you know, they're still sampling Willie Dixon lines somewhere in there. So it's not like the blues have gone anywhere. It's just that they're just in a different platform right now.
It is. It's undercover.
Yeah. You know. So Gerry, what does the future hold? What, you know, when we get out of this pandemic, if we get out of this plague in 2021, what do you have yet to accomplish?
Well, I just keep on doing what we're doing. You know, I mean, the band has sort of changed a little bit since obviously we lost Ted 2 years ago, which is a shame. Very sad. So we got Brendan playing drums now. Brendan O'Neill, who played with Rory during the 80s, and two other guitar players, young German kid and a guy from England, Paul Rose, and a guy called Stephen Rapp. So at the moment, everything has been rescheduled from 2020 to 2021.
Right.
Rescheduled now to 2022.
Yeah.
But at the moment, everything is ready to go in September of this year.
Okay.
So fingers crossed and hope for the best. Yeah.
And Davis of America?
Yeah, hopefully next year. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Oh, we should have been there last year. I mean, we should have been there last September. The tour was booked, but for the obvious reason, it didn't happen.
You were at the Iridium a couple of years ago, if I recall.
Yeah, we've done it a couple of times actually. The first time was 2018. We played there. We did 5 nights there. It was great.
Yeah.
In fact, Johnny Paris showed up.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah. I was out on the road
trying to get the guitar back.
Well, he knows I want it. You know.
Gerry, you first came to America with Rory. What was your first impression when you saw LA and New York?
The women. No, I'm joking. I mean, I was like, you know, when I was a kid, I mean, TV was American TV, you know, in Belfast and Ireland. I mean, one of my favorite TV shows in the 60s was called 77 Sunset Strip.
Oh yeah, of course.
Back in of course, when we drove to the hotel from the airport in Los Angeles, when we arrived, William, myself, and Rory, we drove past Dino's Bar and Grill, which was what they used for 77 Sunset Strip. And I went, wow, here we are at minute.
Kooky, lend me your comb.
Eddie Byrne, indeed. Cookie, let me your comb. That was a song. That's right. So I was like, you know, and obviously playing the Whiskey A Go Go for 6 nights, you know. Like,
sure.
like amazing, amazing,
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
And your impressions of New York and Chicago, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it all. Loved it. I mean, at first I was sort of knocked out by LA, and not so knocked out by New York, but then years following that, you know, all of a sudden New York became my place. You know,
Mhm.
it was like I love New York.
Mhm. Mhm.
I love the States in general.
Yeah.
I mean, we toured there so many times, you know, like and played there so many times in different places, you know.
What were some of your favorite cities to tour here?
Oh yeah, hey, listen, Chicago.
Cleveland, Chicago, yeah.
Cleveland was great. I mean, that's rock and roll. You know, that's the rock and roll city.
Yeah.
Cleveland, you know, famous for rock and roll and hitmen, I believe. I mean, it was all great. You know, even some of the, you know, the funkier towns we played in, you know, like Wise, Virginia. Like I remember these towns, you know, but it was all fun. It was all great.
Yeah. And your tools of the trade, you obviously the Fender P bass. You played a Music Man for a while, didn't you?
Yeah, I've got the Music Man. Yeah, I mean, it's when I was with the other band after I left Rory, I joined a band called 9 Below Zero. And I
Right.
used the Music Man in that band. You know, it seemed it suited that
Okay.
the type of music that we were playing with them. You know, but then afterwards I reverted back to the P bass again. You know, when I got band of friends together, I got the little P bass out.
You know, it's funny when I was looking at your discography with 9 Below Zero, a name popped up that I honestly hadn't seen or heard. We're actually, he and I are now friends on Facebook, but Tony Demure. I must have been one of the only people that had ever heard of the Fabulous Poodles.
Really?
No one in the States knew, but it didn't matter if the band was any good or any bad. Fabulous Poodles may be one of the best names.
I know, fantastic name in it.
And with amplification, what you went with SVT and Ampeg back in the day?
That was my favorite setup, the old SVT
Yeah.
and the 8x10. Yeah, I mean, in the past, I mean, I used Marshall. I used
Sure.
and in the early days with Rory, we had amplification from Germany called Stramp.
Okay.
It was made by a guy called Peter Struven. And I know Alvin Lee used it, and Jack Bruce used it as well. You know, it was like a copy of Marshall. But my favorite has always been the old SVT setup, the original. Yeah.
Right. Nothing like hauling SVTs around. You know, reflect, you know, when I think of your career, I always think in terms of albums. And now it's a whole different world because there really is no record industry as we know it. And we live in a streaming world now. I guess that's good because you can't have your record rejected by a record company.
That's true, yeah.
But you also don't have a record company to finance you. What do you think with streaming? Is it the best of times, the worst of times?
Well, it's a shame that the whole record company scenario went the way it went. You know, I mean, I think people weren't keeping an eye on it. They should have been more careful. You know, especially when CDs come out. First of all, everybody's going, well, that's the death of vinyl. And then just bit by bit, I think the record companies just lost their way. You know. And it's a shame because I mean, I think it was important. It was important to have a record company, you know, and well, especially in the 60s and 70s, we know that, you know, even the 80s. But now there's not, everything's ethereal. Everything's from floats down from the air, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you download whatever you want to hear, and it's not the same as walking into that record store and picking up that vinyl and opening the sleeve and having a look and seeing who's playing on it. You know, it all seems a bit fake to me now.
Is the album format still relevant, you think, for artists?
Well, it's becoming more and more popular again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's made a big comeback. You know, I mean, we're actually in the middle of doing an album, and it'll be the first one with Band of Friends to come out in vinyl.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah, so that'll be out towards the end of this year or next year, depending on rescheduling, depending on viruses and depending on everything else.
It's coming out of vinyl. We'll talk about the excitement of actually being able to design a record cover that people can actually hold in their hand. It's actually a work of art.
It is, absolutely. I mean, it is a work of art. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know, at the same time, you think about There's a new item on the table right now called an NFT. Have you heard about those?
No.
It's called a non-fungible, I'm not sure what the T is, but what it basically is, it's about 3 years old. Are you familiar with it, Tom?
I've never heard of fungible or non-fungible.
Fungible, non-fungible. What, you should look it up because
It can't be funged?
No, it has nothing to do with mushrooms.
Oh.
But seriously, it's kind of like a Bitcoin for artists. All right. And back in, I guess it was 2017, it started making a very tiny roadway into the music industry. Artists now sell their digital assets, and it's a completely different thing. So my thought is, well, perhaps you can do an album cover, a record, and all of this digitally now through this NFT. I've been researching it a bit lately. It's a very interesting proposition.
Check it out, NFT.
And it certainly keeps, from what you were saying in terms of Rory wanted to be the captain of his own ship, I think this is an extraordinary way to be the captain, emperor, and key
God.
head. You know what I'm saying?
Concept, package, and design.
So it's a very interesting.
I do think with digital distribution, though, the artist does have control more of their work. I mean, a lot of legacy artists, that we interact with, Graham Parker, Ian Hunter, they're probably doing better now that they have their own merch, their own product, which they can sell at shows. So they actually do come away with more than when they had the big record deals. So
yeah, there is that. I mean, yeah, of course there is that. I mean, you are in command of what you have. Yeah. It's like, I mean, you sell your merch at gigs, and and that's maybe that's the way forward now. I mean, it's been like that for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But then the thing becomes, you have to have a place to play so you can sell your merchandise.
Exactly.
It all comes back to performing.
It does, absolutely, yeah. It does, yeah.
So we've come full circle.
We have.
In that sense. All right, David. Anything else?
No, this has been wonderful. It's so nice to.
Oh, great, guys. Thanks very much. And I got to check out this. Was it NFT?
NFT, yes.
Fungible. I have to look that up. That's the word of the day, is fungible.
Yes. Well, thanks again. We will send you a link when we're going to be broadcasting.
So I'll send you a video link, and
yeah, we can put it up on Facebook or whatever. Yeah, that'll be great.
And come to America in 2022. It's been 1977 the last time I checked out, Gerry. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Tell me.
Definitely. All right. Be well, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.
Bye now.
Bye now.